Over the years, there has been a lot of confusion with units, and part of the reason is that we find ourselves trying to use several systems of units all at the same time. For many years in the United States and in many parts of the world, the so-called English system has been in use. But more recently, everyone is moving towards the SI, or Standard International Unit. In this video, we'll try to do both of them with an emphasis on the SI units, and hopefully we can eliminate a lot of confusion that comes about in working with both English gravitational or SI system units. Within themselves, the systems are consistent, but when they overlap with each other, confusion begins. Well, the place to start is with mass. The unit we choose for mass is really the definition of the system we plan to use. The choice of mass tells us whether we need to be working with conversion factors, like between the SI and the English system. And very often, if we don't choose the mass unit properly, we may require several conversion factors within the system of units. Well, what are the common units of mass? Well, we often use the gram. We use the pound. And we use the kilogram, which is basically 1,000 grams. And we use a slug. Now, if we look at these units, we find that they really represent different quantities or different amounts of material. And if you look at a diagram that's in the manual, you'll get a feel for the approximate sizes of how these compare. The gram is a very small unit. This is something that weighs a gram is really quite small. Then the next thing up would be a pound. A pound is approximately 454 grams. So it would be 454 times as big as a gram. Now the kilogram is 1,000 grams, which makes it even larger than the pound. Approximately 2.2 pounds make up a kilogram. And then we come to the slug. And on the same scale of proportionality, we would say that the slug is approximately 32 or so pounds, 32 plus pounds. So if you put this in terms of what these other units are, if you multiply 32 by 454, the number of grams we're looking at here is over 14,000, approximately 14,594 grams to a slug. So you can see that the hierarchy, as we build up here, shows, relatively speaking, the common units of mass. Now, the SI system, which we will be dealing with in a little while, stands for Standard International. The SI system uses for mass kilograms. And this is important because this makes everything relative to the kilogram. Mass is measured in terms of kilograms as opposed to pounds, or technically speaking, as opposed to grams. Now, what about the force? We haven't really talked about force yet. And force and mass have a correlation. They're not the same thing. Of course, I think you're aware of that, but if you aren't, we'll hit on that in just a minute.